Hey everyone, welcome back to the Music Corner, episode 4, presented by Access Ballymorn and hosted by myself, Ger Kellet. I just want to give a shout out to our guest last week on episode 3, who was Flynn Johnson. Really enjoyed the discussion, and make sure you go check out his latest single, Fairy Tales, available on all the major streaming platforms right now. And there's a music video for that one as well, so check that out. So my guest this week on episode 4 is a lady called Dubh Lee, who is an artist that works across a variety of different genres and is an incredible live performer. So we're going to jump into the interview now with Dubh Lee. Well, first of all, thanks for taking the time to sit down with us, Dubh Lee, in the house. It's been a minute.
Been a while, yeah.
Yeah, no, thanks for sitting down. So what I want to do is I want to kind of jump back to 2018, which was around the time you first started releasing music as Dubh Lee, and I went digging, and the first one that I kind of found was Realists, if you remember that one. Talk to us about releasing your first single or your first piece of music as Dubh Lee, and what that felt like, and then how that was received.
I had been operating on a different stage name before that, and I decided that I wasn't in love with it, so I went with Dubh Lee, and which is a pun on my surname. And you mentioned that video Realist, so I put that up on YouTube around mid 2018?
Yeah, about 2018. Yeah.
But it wasn't until the middle of 2019 that I finally got my stuff together to release my first single, which was actually a song called Virtue.
I see between kind of Realists and Virtue coming out, you've done a lot of work with a group called WOB as well.
Yes, I did.
Before we get to Virtue, talk to us about kind of the work you did with WOB over those few years, because you released singles and music videos with them. So yeah, talk to us about that process.
So that was a lot of crack. I met Jolly, as in WOB, who he is now WOB himself, through a cover band that I was in. And, we started jamming and writing songs on the side. He, like WOB, handled the music and I handled the kind of lyrics and melodies. And two of the songs, we decided would be worth releasing. So obviously we're both indie artists, so it was all done independently. But I think one of them was in December of 2018. That was Falling With Me. We recorded a music video at, what was it called? Battle for the Lake.
For the Lake, yeah.
Which is over in Achill Island. So we had some amazing shots of all of the windsurfers, and then interspersed with shots of our set, which was from the main stage.
Yeah.
And then the other tune was Where I Want to Be, which is kind of like a romantic liquid drum and bass track. And both of the songs really were completely different to anything I'd ever done before. So in that way, it was really fun collaboration for me, because it was drum and bass. It's a genre that I wasn't very familiar with. So I got to learn a lot about the genre that way. And then obviously, basically just it was cool to work on something that was so unfamiliar territory for me as a folk or rock background artist,
because they were well received. I say there was a lot of buzz about those tracks when they first came, which probably was down to the fact that you were mixing your style with Jolly and WOB's style. People were like, what's this? This is brand new.
Exactly.
But then after that, then we talked about it there a second ago. So your first kind of single then that you mentioned there was Virtue, the one that kind of. So talk to us about the track itself. Like what does the track mean, and then a music video for Virtue, or is that just a single?
Yes, there is a music video for Virtue. So the track itself, it's it was probably written in 2018. It's a track where I'm kind of pondering whether it's worth waiting for a lover, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically it's about a kind of turbulent relationship that I was in at the time, and me questioning whether I'm wasting my time, basically. And for the track, we myself and my brother made this music video. For whatever reason, I got this idea for a kind of a sketch to go along with the track that involved a mannequin. So I went looking for a mannequin so that we could shoot this video, and it took ages to find one. Finally finally, they cost about like $1,000 or something, like just to get a
Oh,
mannequin, you know. And we were kind of trying to do it as cheap as possible.
yeah.
We finally got donated one by Galvin's for Men, which is a men's clothes store in Tullamore.
Okay.
But just the top half of the mannequin, no legs. But that was enough, right? So we
Yeah,
decided
that's all we need.
and the plot of the video basically is that I'm in love with this mannequin, and obviously the mannequin can't reciprocate because it's like, you know,
Yeah.
can't move, you know, or whatever. So I'm clearly infatuated with this mannequin and it has no interest in me. So I go for a walk in the mountains with the mannequin and I go for a picnic with it. And I forgot something in the car. So I leg it back to the car. And when I come back, the mannequin has disappeared. And then, basically the punchline of the video, if anybody hasn't seen it yet, is that the mannequin has left me for another female mannequin. Yeah, it was really good fun to make. My brother did all of the camera work.
How were you, like, was that did you create that narrative and that storyline, or who worked with that? Was yourself? Yeah.
I came up with the narrative, like with Declan, my brother's help. We tweaked it a little bit, you know what I mean, to make it more filmable, to make the story more, whatever, succinct.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I wanted to go with a music video that would, like, you know, kind of draw you in a bit, and something that you could follow, you know what I mean? So it's still up on YouTube there, of course.
And how was that received then? So you obviously you put a lot of time and effort and thought into the video and obviously the song itself. And so how was that received then by kind of critics and fans when it was released?
It was good. I remember like Golden Pleck premiered it for me, which was very sound. You know, they said it was a hilarious video, which is kind of what I was going for. I got good reviews, especially just from, like, you know, from peers or poets that I'd meet in town and stuff. They'd say, "I love how you did something different for your video. That it wasn't just you singing the bloody song or whatever." And I, you know, that's like that was good to hear, because that's kind of what I wanted. You know, I wanted something
different.
Interesting. Yeah. The song itself, I mean, it didn't stream amazingly. People like the song. It's doing well. I think it's got like 2,000 streams on Spotify, which isn't going to make me any cold hard cash anytime soon. But you know, it's fine.
Yeah. It is Spotify. Even if you are getting the hundreds and thousands of views, we've kind of been hearing stories over the past couple of years that it's such a hard medium to monetize and bring money in from. So I think you kind of have to take Spotify with a little bit of pinch of salt. If the track does a couple of thousand, that's kind of a success in a way, with no major label or PR company behind you, you know, straight off your own back. So I wouldn't downplay those streams at all.
Well, thank you.
And no, sorry, go ahead. Yeah,
I was going to say, like, you know, as an indie artist, my PR budget is relatively small, so it's all kind of, that's why I wanted a good video, you know. You have to do as much guerrilla marketing for yourself. So that's it. Like, yeah,
and then that leads us into the next single to come from you, the next big single to come from you, sorry, which was Carousel. And that again had another interesting music video, the way it was shot and the content of it. So talk to us about the track, and then talk to us about the video, and how were you involved as much in this video in terms of narrative? Or
so what happened here was, Carousel was written, I remember it was like winter of 2019, and I was just after being broken up with. And it's a song of, like, and like I was in a lot of emotional distress.
Yeah.
And so I was like drinking a lot and stuff like that, and I was partying just to distract myself.
Yeah.
And so Carousel is like a super simple blues format, like blues rock tune.
Yeah.
Kind of styled after the Lemon Song by Led Zeppelin. So you got, you know, your real simple verses and lyrics, and it's basically just me going like, I'm going mad.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not feeling well at all, and I keep partying, and it's like I'm on this carousel, like I'm out of control. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just revolving and partying and whatever.
Going around.
So I, like, to match that, I said I'd work with my brother again, because, you know, he did such a good job in the first video.
Yeah.
And he knows his stuff. But this time I went to him and I just said, look, I want to make a video for Carousel. I want it to be weird and psychedelic. After that, I give you completely free reign. So obviously there's less narrative in the Carousel video. There's just a lot more psychedelic imagery and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. But like, yeah, that one was lots of fun to make. There was lots of me standing on revolving platforms and stuff. It was quite dizzying, but that kind of suits the theme of the song, really. You know what I mean?
And how was that one received then? Because that's another solid tune, another really good video. With props to your brother there. We should plug him actually. What does he have, a company or anything he's running, or?
He's well, no, he's actually, as in, he like the videography stuff. I'm pretty sure if you messaged him, he'd be available for it. Declan Dooley is his
Okay.
name. He's got a YouTube channel,
I'll
but
make
he's
note of
not.
that.
He hasn't got a company for it per se, not yet.
Yeah, it's just kind of freelancing and doing what he can to stay
Yes,
creative. Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
No, well, he's produced some really good videos for you. And then Carousel, so that was received well, would you say?
Yes, it's as in it's streaming better than Virtue relative to how long it's been out. If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Got some good radio airplay in Ireland, and then also in like Reading
yeah.
and like just a few places in the UK. I get an email every couple of weeks from iTunes about whether my songs have been Shazammed, and Carousel has been like Shazammed in like Amsterdam and
Oh wow.
Belfast and Scotland and stuff like that. So that's, I don't know who's playing it, but some radio DJs are playing it
Hopefully,
abroad at
yeah.
the
Let
moment.
them keep playing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you
So,
just you touched on it there a little a while ago. You've played some, like, you've been fairly active since kind of coming out as Dubh Lee in the past couple of years in terms of gigging and live performances. Like, you played the Battle for the Lake, Electric Picnic, the Ruby sessions. So they're major gigs to be landing. So yeah, what have been some of your highlights in terms of live gigs? A couple of them might be in there, but if there's any I haven't mentioned over the past couple of years, what have been the highlights in terms of live gigs? And then just if you can put into a couple of words, obviously with the pandemic, how much are you missing actually performing live to a crowd?
so let me think. There's as in I've done a lot over
Yeah,
since 2018. I've done a lot as Dubh Lee, but I suppose highlights were like, for example, one of the gigs I did with Wob was at Knockenstocken. Can't remember
yeah,
the name of the stage. Can't remember a lot from that weekend, but the gig was great. I was Dubh Lee, front womaning for Wob at
yeah,
Knockenstocken, so that was amazing. Obviously, Knockenstocken is just amazing itself. It's
yeah,
impossible to have a bad
yeah.
time. As Dubh Lee, I
The Ruby sessions must be one, would they?
of course, like yeah, I've done the Ruby sessions twice, and
That's
I've also
crazy. Like, that's really really top drawer.
yeah, the like I think how I got the opportunity was like I play a lot of open mics when things are, when things are up and running and like life is normal and it's pre-lockdown or whatever. I
Yeah,
would always be out testing my new songs, or just out to hear other people's music and practice my own at open mics. And so I think that's where Connor Donovan, who does the MCing for the Ruby sessions,
yeah,
first heard me. And like it's just that if you're out and you're performing and the right people hear you, you can just get lucky. So
yeah. It is
that's how
a
I was
little
lucky
bit
enough
of
to be invited
a
along, and it's a really good experience. The crowd is dead silent. There's just rapt attention on you, and
yeah.
it's like fantastic experience, I have to say.
Yeah, so it's a kind of a mix of you having to really put the work in and get out, and like nothing's more important to a musician than gigging. Like every kind of musician says that. And so it's
Yeah,
kind of a mix of the hard work gigging and then a little bit of luck for the right ears to be listening
yeah,
to you at that time to book you for another gig. Yeah.
yeah,
So I'd say the main point is just for artists that are listening in is to get out there and when we're open back up and gig as much as possible.
yeah.
Would you agree?
I
Yeah.
would say so. Like
Um,
the other thing I do is like as in I try to post content online frequently enough that
yeah.
keeps, as in, because I like, as in, if I really like a song, I'll cover it, stick it
Mm.
up. Or like, if I'm proud of something that I've recorded at home, I'll stick it up. And like just that kind of always producing and always being seen to be making an effort,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's
And
definitely important, yeah.
yeah.
And that actually kind of leads us into nicely into this one. So, like over the past couple of years, again, you've got radio play on the likes of the ones that you've mentioned. Then, like Dublin South FM, Near FM, and you've had plugs and covers by Golden Pleck, Hot Press Magazine. So we kind of touched on it again a little bit, but for artists that are coming up and creating music and putting it out, you've got a lot of success and light shined on you by like Golden Pleck and Hot Press and stuff like that. So would you have any tips or advice for artists coming up on how to get their music to the likes of these media outlets and radio stations, or how are you going about doing that?
So I like how I worked it was like in the lead up to either of the releases, you send a ton of emails.
Yeah,
And like obviously you don't want to annoy people, but you do want to get your music heard. So like it's very important when you're emailing people to make it as easy as possible for the person like the journalist at the other end to listen to your music. So like, don't hide your music in like a Dropbox folder miles away. Make it easy for them to just click in and listen. There's tons of like tips that you'll find online about how to send a perfect email. So like if you're gonna be releasing a single, I recommend finding like, there's Ari's Take, which is an amazing blog about like releasing music as an independent artist, and I actually used a lot of tips from his blog, Ari's Take, when deciding what distributor to use to get my music on Spotify and Amazon and stuff like that. So like, look, there's lots of resources online for helping you release and also annoy like the journalists effectively. But like, just like with anything, if you want your product, like, if we'll call it a product for now, but if you want it to do well, you're going to have to put in hours and hours of graft, you know what I mean? So
because you're your own company essentially, selling this product, which is your songs, but like you have to act like you have your music side, but you need to have the business side or some sort of marketing strategy in place as well.
And it does get a bit tiring, because like, you know, I mean, I'd say if you went 20 or 40 years back, there was a time when musicians could just be musicians, and you know, your managers or whoever else would do all of this kind of stuff for you, and you didn't have to worry about social media. Now there's a lot of different skills that you need to have. So thankfully, like for me, I find it easy because I enjoy using social media anyway. But for a lot of people, I know that it can be a bit of a head, like it can wreck people's heads, like if they're not interested in using Facebook or whatever.
It's a chore.
So it's tough. Like, you know, there's so much you have to know how to do, especially like I've learned a lot about video editing just by, and like mixing and recording my own music just out of a necessity over the course of lockdown. I can't go and get somebody else to do it. I can't have people over to my house. So I've just been having to figure out all that stuff out myself. But I think if you're, sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I think if you're like I'm self-employed full-time musician at the moment, so like I have the time on my hands to go and learn these things. You know what I mean? So like lockdown hasn't been that bad for me because I've had all this opportunity to kind of work on other like skills around music. You know, I do miss the gigs, but I've gotten the opportunity to learn lots of other stuff as well, you know.
Yeah, that's a nice segue actually, because me next talking point it's been the last year. So talk to us about your experience with virtual gigs and how they've gone for you, and then how you've kind of kept your mental. You kind of already answered it a little bit, but how over the last year, how have you kept the momentum and to be productive, and how have you kept your mental health strong? Obviously there's going to be times where it dips and stuff, but overall you've had a decent year in terms of a pandemic happening at the same time. So talk to us about the last year. Talk to us about how you've been staying productive and keeping the mental health strong, and then talk to us about your experience with the virtual gigs that have popped up.
Absolutely. So what are the things that I've been doing? Okay, so this is how I think about it. Sometimes I start feeling bad about myself when I haven't had a win for a while. And I think that might happen to a lot of musicians. It's like, it looks like nobody's listening to you or cares. And when I start feeling that way, you know, I find a way to create a win, you know what I mean? Like I'll record something, I'll make a piece of content, and I'll pour time and effort into it. And if it's good, if what comes out is good, then you'll get a good reaction, you know what I mean? And it'll increase the amount of people looking at you and paying attention to you and like enjoying your music, hopefully. So like productivity is tough when you're feeling down, but then at the same time being productive and creating something can help pull you out of that,
lift you out of it.
So I was just trying to put out a cover or a mashup or like, you know, one of my own tunes, stick it up on YouTube or SoundCloud every couple of weeks, and that kind of kept me feeling good, you know. And the other thing was that I was like, either voluntarily or because I was invited to, I was doing a couple of live stream gigs. I think everybody's seen the various live stream gigs over the past year. People are probably getting bloody sick of them. I know I might be. But for example, I did the Hot Press lockdown sessions on Instagram, which was really good fun. You know, you have a huge amount of people tuning in because Hot Press has a large, they have maybe 15,000, 20,000 followers on Instagram. What else? I did a bunch of hybrid gigs. So they were gigs where there was a small amount of people in the audience between lockdowns, and then the gigs were also being live streamed. So one of them was was called Aprepalooza. and that was like Castlepalooza, but like miniature
Yeah.
in Tullamore. So there was 15 people in the audience, and then it was also, was that live streamed? Anyway, it was like 15 people in the audience, so like a miniature gig,
Yeah.
but with like full setup, you know, like all your lighting and sound
Yeah.
instruments and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It was class.
So you're getting a
And
small taste of it still a little bit, yeah. And then
yeah,
another
exactly.
virtual
Kinda,
gig I saw pop up was Transmission Festival.
yeah, that was brilliant. So Transmission was an event ran by Demars Entertainment, who've been putting on some really good, like as in putting up constant content over the
Yeah.
past year. Demars Entertainment, check them out. But they ran this festival called Transmission, and it was like a 10-hour live stream, and there were loads of acts. I opened up the day with a half-hour set with a band.
Is this
And they
from
had-
your own location or?
No, so Transmission, the idea of it was to run it kind of like a music festival. All the bands came at staggered times
Yeah, yeah.
to this location that was Camelot Recording Studios.
Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Blanchardstown direction, and there was 2 stages, and so in the live stream, the every act, it would go back and forth between the 2 stages.
Nice.
And then while one act was playing, the next act would be setting up and that kind of thing. And it was really smoothly run, really high production quality.
Yeah.
You can actually watch the whole thing. It's like a 10-hour stream.
Wow.
But you can watch it all on YouTube now, on Demars Entertainment's YouTube channel.
Brilliant.
That was great crack, because like not only did you have there was a bit of a festival vibe, even though it was just crew and bands. But
Yeah.
Everybody was just so happy to be doing something
Better than nothing, yeah.
this
Yeah.
location that was musical, you know. And then like obviously, you know, people got to tune in from home. I don't know, it was fantastic. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite gigs of last year.
Yeah, it seemed to be received very well. Like I saw a lot of posts about it, and a lot of different artists kind of linked in, which was great to see.
Yeah, there was a really good lineup. By Curious were there, and Wob actually did a set. Lila Jane, that was
Nice
fantastic.
lineup, yeah. And then so now that kind of brings us up to nearly current day. So what's the plans for yourself for the future, kind of the rest of 2021 and into 2022? Obviously it's going to depend on the lockdown and stuff when we can get back out gigging. But what are your plans as of now, kind of for the rest of the year or over the next year?
So it's kind of like obviously up in the air, as you're saying, but I plan to record a 4-track EP and have it out before the end of this year. And then I won't get ahead of myself. Basically, I had been planning to go into studio in January and record this 4-track EP, but then another lockdown happened. So I'm kind of just getting ready for that, you know, demoing the tracks at home. Raring to go. I've been speaking to a few different studios. So basically the second I'm allowed to, I'll be straight back into studio to record this 4-track EP. It'll be with a band. It'll be a bit heavier, like a bit more rock oriented.
Yeah.
And then got like, you know, COVID permitting, I would like to gig that. So I'd do a couple of gigs across the country.
Of course.
Where, you know, play the EP, play whatever other tracks.
Yeah.
And then slightly longer term, I have an album in the works in my brain. So all the tracks are written for it. It'd be like an 8-track thing, you know.
Yeah.
But like, you know, and I was actually planning on having that out by the end of this year, but like, you know,
obviously, yeah.
So that'll be a 2022 project.
Well, that's good. So, but you do, so you have an EP and an album plan, which is good because you kind of constantly have something to be working towards, which is brilliant. Fair play. That's not, it's not easy making plans right now. Obviously, with COVID, you're constantly being set back is a nuisance as well. But fair play for making those plans and sticking with them. I'm looking forward to them. I must say. And then, so we're gonna just about done now, but we're gonna cut to our latest single, Carousel, the official music video for that now in a minute. But I have 5 questions here that are not music related, just to get to know you, the person, a little bit more. So yeah, you don't have to put too much thought into them if you want, if an answer just comes to your head. So the first one is cat or dog person?
Dog. Yeah.
The cats get an awful time. A lot of people just like dog.
Cats are fine, but just
I love dogs myself. Yeah, I'm a dog lover.
Nicer, like, you know what I mean?
Your favorite TV show can be current or past. Just your own favorite TV show.
That is a really good one. Jesus, what do I like? Okay, so I know it's very basic, but I love the US Office. It's great. It's just so funny. Like,
I've binged it like 5-6 times over in the past 6 months, I think. Like,
I started binging it again at the start of
I'm
this
on
year.
the
just
podcast and
because you're
everything now,
back
trying to learn all the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
But then I could also say Arrested. If I wanted to say my favorite like show of all time, I love comedies. So
yeah,
Arrested Development, probably just because it's just so dense with
yeah,
stuff.
it's a
Like
fantastic show.
one
In
of those.
fairness, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, I can take. They're two quality shows. I can't argue with those. The next one's quite simple, but I think it's effective. Your favorite color?
Ah, Jesus. Don't know. I don't know if I really have one.
Yeah, that's an answer
I
in
definitely,
itself.
yeah.
That says a
Like
lot.
as in, I wear black all the time. Like black. I
Yeah.
think it's black.
Okay, it's black. Black. I don't know. It depends on if you're into them or not. But your favorite superhero?
I actually like this thing. I watched all the Marvel universe stuff there recently, and I like just mainly because I was bored. But I don't think I can say that I have a favorite. Probably one of the women.
Yeah, there's some very strong female characters that are being introduced into the Marvel universe, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And then the DC crowd have Wonder Woman, but I actually never watched. I didn't watch their recent Wonder Woman
either
movies.
have I actually. Yeah, it's on the list. Yeah. But yeah, no, not everybody's into them. But you've mentioned a couple of good ones there, so I'll take that. And then finally, you're stranded on a desert island with one Simpsons character. Who would you want to be stranded with?
Let me think about this. This is a really good question.
Thank you.
It'd have to be somebody fucking useful or somebody with resources.
Useful or resourceful or entertaining until the boat came to pick you up,
Yeah. So I'm thinking, the actor, although he's just an actor, it's not that he's actually resourceful. Feck.
This is like the most
That's a really
thought
good
about
question.
question on every show all the time. Like,
Let me see. Okay, so if I just think of like maybe the main cast, who would I like to be stranded with? Probably feckin' Lisa. She's clever,
if you can bring the sax
Yeah.
sweater, that'd be nice. Yeah.
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 I'm trying to learn the sax at the moment, so that would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Last week, I think we had Mo Sislak. The answer was Mo Sislak. It's interesting to see who people pick, but Lisa's a good one. Yeah, Lisa'd probably be on my list as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, here, that's our interview. We're going to cut to Carousel now in a second, your latest single. But I just want to say thanks for sitting down with us, and best of luck with the EP. And then further on down the line, best of luck with going out and smashing the gigs again and getting that album recorded. Looking forward to that.
Thank you. Pleasure.
No problem.